Good evening and welcome. I'm Pamela Eakins, and also known as Eagle Woman. I am the founder of Red Earth Press and also the publisher and editor of our book that we will be reading from tonight, Liberty, Breath, Death, Soul, by the Sisters of the Holy Pen. I'm also the founder of the Sisters of the Holy Pen, an incredibly creative international group of women writers. Tonight's our book launch for Liberty, and we will be reading selections out of the book. So we're very excited about that. This is Women's Voice. Welcome. Welcome to the Song of Woman. This is Women's Voice for Liberty, Women's Voice for Freedom. Here, enter the truth about today, what liberty is and what liberty is not. As we, as women, search for meaning, enter here, listen with us, join us on a guided journey through our time and consciousness, and you will see that though the span does not hold, and though we recognize the enormity of the cages that entrap us, including those we create, we can break free. We can breathe. We can walk aright. We can cast out the useless. We can transcend. We can enter the house of soul. Enter our ceremony, walk with us into freedom. We welcome you. And now we begin tonight's reading with Cheryl Ban. with Mother of Exile.
Mother of Exile. Liberty, sweet liberty. Libertas, where are you? Do you stand only at the Grand Harbor, entrance to the Americas, greeting seafaring travelers, welcoming the tired, the hopeful? Statue of Liberty, placed upon a star. A concrete 11-pointed star pedestal, built with inspired funds. Children gave their nickels and their dimes, tossing sacrifice coins into the wishing well of liberty, investing prayers into an imagined future. Liberty enlightening the world. She is beacon of freedom. In cloaks of copper fabric glowing in the harsh winds and hot heat, teaching how corrosion may tarnish the unrelenting quest for peace. Hope, the continual repair. Are you, Libertas, goddess, reminding us, humans of the divine, reach for our own liberty? Created from a single thought, manifested by another, we might cultivate gratitude for the prophetic gift of friendship, given for the belief in opportunities in each other, trusting in another's country, the United States of America, resting firmly in her left hand, her tablet, Roman numerals inscribed, stating the date of America's freedom, when the risk was taken, the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776. Exposed right bare arm, held aloft, steadily holding a golden torch, rising high into the sky, her flame shining across the whole of these vast lands, for freedom lies in perpetual progress. A helmet would protect, yet she wears upon her brow a crown, vulnerable and fragile, a beacon. She adorns this crown with 7 shining rays for 7 seas and 7 continents. The crown's rays, a halo, nobility of the sun, life-sustaining, giving to all beings, courage for the globe. She, Lady Libertas, came to stand with bare feet, stepping over broken chains of slavery. Guardian over the eastern port, guardian over the eastern port. Let us know victory, victory from the shackles that bind, victory from the tyranny of the flesh and oppression of the spirit. When waves grow tall, threaten the shores of our integrity, when questions of our kindness erode with each chain placed upon another, when the yokes of tyranny are an anchor, pulling down into the foam of pain, confusion, may the light of Libertas shine into the eyes and abolish the hands that tie, the heart that falters. Becoming the mother of our own exile. Libertas, she stands, inviting freedom alive in us, awakening ignited hearts, torches, lights in the sea of humanity. Libertas, are you everywhere? Standing at my soul's entrance, asking, what is my freedom? Am I free? Inscribed upon the tablet held aloft, is there a declaration date of my own freedom. Feet in motion, torch in hand, friendship of one's heart with the nobility of the soul. Friendship of one's heart with the nobility of our soul. Liberty, sweet liberty. Cheryl Ban.
Ellis, Siren. Blazing torch defying the sky, guiding sailors to her arms, enlightening their path. Like a siren from the old times, humming an old rhyme. Come, swim to my shores, come, dream through my land, milk and honey never. And dream, Democrat or Republican, black or white, vaxxer or non-vaxxer, just stay within the lines, just stay polarized. All your desires are at hand. Suburban house, sports car, a gold watch. Just give me some of your time. Just give me some of your blood. Come, swim to my shores. Come, dream through my land. Milk and honey never run dry. Elsa, Ramos, Eías.
Field of freedom. Liberty, freedom, liberty, freedom. What does it really mean? Can any of us have liberty if all of us don't have liberty? How are freedom and liberty interconnected? When do we see that without all of us having liberty, none of us are free? Liberty is a state of feeling freedom, freedom of actions, words, and expression. Liberty is the field in which freedom works. We talk a lot about liberty, that it is our right, as written in our own Declaration of Independence, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Unfortunately, today, it feels as if it is my liberty at the expense of your liberty, which is not liberty at all. So we each seek our own individual liberty, knowing we only have our liberty if we encourage and protect another's liberty. The word liberty has been overlaid with exclusivism, exceptionalism, and patriotic rhetoric. But that is not true liberty. Until we seek true liberty for one and all, there is no real freedom. Maura, McBratney.
Free together, Jan Edgerton. Does freedom mean that only we are free and others are not? We have to be free together because that is the nature of love. Do flowers need freedom to bloom? Do they care that another flower grows next to them? Or do they just freely grow and share the ground they are rooted in with each other, allowing all the flowers near them to move toward the sun? In harmony, they become what they were created to be as they lift up each other together. Every being has a right to be free, to become what the Creator intended them to become here on earth. Everything and everyone have a purpose that contributes to the whole of the cosmos. Without each other, there is no real place for any of us. We cannot exist alone, as our lessons are in being together peacefully, The freedom and liberty allows us to live together peacefully in kindness, compassion, love, and acceptance. Our liberating job is to freely follow our hearts, knowing deeply that what we are doing, helping others, brings more peace to the world. Jan Edgerton.
Delusional bullshit. Liberty is my tongue unleashed, calling out foul. What delusional bullshit? Your words are but a ploy to mindfuck reality and silence my calling you out. Liberty is my heartfelt tending to a shared reality. As I shout, stop, this is insanity. I want no part of it. Liberty is my mind saying no, so others may know they are not alone in witnessing what their eyes clearly see as a travesty. Liberty is my right to speak my mind with no one shutting me up because I'm interfering with their plan. Liberty is my refusal to stand by as hostages are taken, lives are ruined. Liberty is my resistance, but no one sees what is already silenced, what is forcefully hidden. So, okay, go ahead, silence me. In the end, you will hang yourself. Amanda Kovattana.
The pledge. With liberty and justice for all. These words are chanted aloud by everyone in the classroom, every school morning, standing, hands over hearts. The Pledge of Allegiance is dutifully recited daily. When I worked as a substitute teacher, I participated in this daily ritual. As I spoke the pledge aloud, I like to emphasize the final words, with liberty and justice for all. This sent me into a reverie about the curious paradox of our national identity. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Our founding documents represented these as our fundamental birthright. The assumption was that all men are created equal. We are all deserving of liberty and justice for all. I believe we are all children of God. At our human core, we are all equal within our souls where it matters. How to navigate the paradox, equal but unequal. Though our founders wrote that all are created equal and there is liberty and justice for all, sadly, the evidence of my open eyes reveals sharp contrast to the professed ideals. I observe vast inequality in our country, racial, sexual, economic. When some of us are unequal, we are all unequal. There can be no balance, no security, no peace, no national equanimity until we seek and find ways to level extremes of poverty and of power and no power, of wealth, poverty, oppressor, and oppressed. Wealth and power are dangerous addictions. For many victims, there can never be enough money, enough fame, or enough power to satisfy the gnawing emptiness in their loveless, empty cores. How do we change the dynamic? The resources are available to provide for the Earth's population, but for those who have opulent abundance, it is often preferable to squeeze from the already stressed and needy populations than to pause in the pursuit of plunder. They will not willingly give over until they have an antidote or alternative to the cocaine payoffs of money, power, fame, fleeting, ephemeral dopamine rush, like any addiction and endless pursuit of momentary bliss. We demand liberty and justice for all. There will be conflict and fights. The truth must be named. We stand up for justice. But what about love? Love must inform the process because love will fill the empty maw. Roberta Wentzel-Walter.
Conscience. Liberty is a loaded word today. Often we hear cries of freedom to follow my own conscience without regard to anyone else. Does it mean I can kill someone? Does it mean I can hurt someone? Does it mean I can act without conscience? What about the collective? Are we not part of a larger whole? Are we solely independent beings? Are we part of a neighborhood, state, nation, and the world? What about all other life on earth? Am I at liberty to follow my conscience? Can I kill, shoot, bully, or hurt whatever or whomever I please? Do I have any constraints on my freedom? What does liberty mean in our Constitution? Is liberty only freedom from arbitrary and despotic government or control? Who decides? Conscience embraces my values of right and wrong. Every individual must decide what is right and wrong. What happens when we disagree? If another decides, am I at liberty to follow my conscience? Who decides? My conscience grows from my heart. My conscience defines liberty in my mind. My conscience declares liberty is both individual and collective. My conscience treasures liberty that protects us all. My conscience declares liberty encompasses choice. My conscience declares liberty includes freedom from collective harm. My conscience declares liberty to be true to myself. Liberty is my right to speak without harming others. Liberty is my right to act without harming others. Liberty is my right to live peacefully. Liberty is my right to love freely. Liberty is my right to vote for whomever I choose. Liberty is my right to individual and collective independence. Liberty is my right to individual and collective interdependence. Liberty is my right to be me.
Pray and dance. Liberate rivers from headwaters to shore, freely flowing, leaving nutrients as they roar. If they stop because of hubris intent, I pray and dance with each step. For when in doubt, I pray and dance. Liberate old and young from concrete jails. Freely they travel to tell new tales. If they're stopped because of hubris intent, gather together to pray and dance as they step. For when in doubt, I pray and dance. Liberate lungs from errant disease. Freely breathe and thank all trees. If breath shrinks because of hubris intent, may we pray and dance as we step. For when in doubt, I choose to pray and dance. Liberate those judged not worthy, freely to vote and thrive without controversy. If lives aren't cherished because of hubris intent, let's pray and dance as we take big steps. For when in doubt, I choose to pray and dance. Liberate us humans from our cold-hearted ways, freely to love, freely to play. Humanity can set forth on new paths. It's time for remembering to pray and dance. I pray, I dance, I release all doubt. I open my heart, I sing out. Take a chance, join with me. Let's choose to pray and dance. Let's be free. Toni, Buckner.
Our evolution will not be televised. Gil Scott-Heron said, "The revolution will not be televised. Neither will humanity's evolution. Our evolution will not be televised. Our devolution certainly will be and is right before our very eyes, but our evolution will never be televised, is not capable of being televised." Hobbes said, "Life in a state of nature is solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short." He was obviously not a yogi. His theory was, in society, you give up some of your freedom in exchange for some security. His theory, if it has any validity at all, is neither linear, nor is it directly proportional. In other words, giving up more freedom isn't better, and giving up all freedom is never, ever, ever best. And robbing swaths of people of their freedom who have done nothing wrong, who have hurt no one, but perhaps dared to speak an alternative truth, or can get the job done faster and cheaper if they are controlled, is never, ever, ever acceptable. Lessons learned, never to be repeated. Humanity, society, community, democracy, division of power to support one nation, an indivisible republic with liberty and justice for all. The idea that freedom is capable of being tempered with justice, and justice no less than for all, for real. All of the isms are experiments. Some of them have worked better than others. Still, others are works in progress. Others have been complete disasters. Epic, catastrophic, shameful, blameful, unimaginable yet undeniable forays into evil. And they are hiding in plain sight right now. The Declaration said, when in the course of human events, a government rules over its people, becomes its master, and the people its servant, the people have the right from nature, nay, the people have a moral obligation to demand that it change, that its leaders step down, that it be reconfigured, that it become representative again, that it govern with us and for us, that we govern ourselves. Gandhi said, "Be the change that you want to see in the world." King said, "I have a dream," and he let all of us dream with him together for a moment in time. Kennedy said, "Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable." Maya said, "We are more alike than unalike." We are all more alike than unalike. Amanda, a most prominent jewel in our crown, tells us to be brave enough to see the light. Be brave enough to be it. We come from a long, long lineage of humble, proud, quiet, loud lineage of women and men searching for how to be and what to do, how to be better, right alongside those who seek to invert it all. And no matter the horrific mistakes, the undeniable hypocrisy, no matter who we think are the villains and the saviors, the predators and the victims, in this moment of time, I am begging us to choose the liberty of light. Our evolution will never be televised. Let us do it anyway. Lisa Hamilton.
The cages we create. We are not born in cages, we create them. They soar above us like blades of grass to an ant. We navigate our woman-made shackles nimbly, hardly pausing to notice after a while that very little sunlight shines through on our busy lives. No, we are not born in cages, we create them. Every subtle rejection sprouts a new stalk. A late night encounter brings new seeds to sow. Each step through the halls of high school fertilizes them and whispers in the wind, to grow higher, you'll feel safer then. We are not born in cages, we create them. An ant can bustle along in her healthy walled garden for ages, never thinking to seek out the sun, until she sees another ant swaying in the breeze at the top of a nearby blade. She sighs and thinks, how dangerous to climb up there. Those ones never come back. And she continues on without a backward glance to bring more stalks to strengthen her walls. Kelsey Ingram.
Of time and stone. From sunset to sunrise, from sunrise to sunset, spending days in a haze. The perfect prison is invisible to the eye. The perfect prisoner, unaware of his condition. Soul coded within words, their true meaning lost, babbling since Babel. Spirit trapped in body cells, and lunchtime calls again. Have another piece of cake. How can one break walls made of time and stone? Elsa, Ramos, Eías.
The promised land. What is this that I have found? What is this that I have tasted? It feels so good. I can feel myself fully here, fully present. I am so spacious. I am so free. I feel my power. I have been liberated from my shell, from the confines of that which imprisoned me, from the past, from illusion, from that which has held me back for so long. My conditioning, my programming, and that of others conditioning and programming upon me. The shoulds, the shouldn'ts, the musts, the have tos, the in order tos, or else of my parents and family, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, 7 generations back and on and on and on, of countless ancestors, of society, religion, government, and the media. Where does it end? The things that we do to, quote, fit in and feel like we belong, twisting ourselves into something that we are not, the pretenses we adopt in order to survive, be accepted and loved, all at the cost of our authenticity, our well-being, our dignity, our integrity, and even in some cases, our very essence and soul. Is succumbing to the needs of our ego really that worth it? This is the lie. And the lie is the prison of our own making. Why? Because we fear the truth? Because we're more comfortable with denial? With the facade? The 4 walls that comprise the, quote, box? Seriously? This is what we settled for instead of freedom? Have we no courage for a breakthrough? Freedom is one of the greatest jewels in this life. Do we have the guts to claim it for ourselves, for each other, for everyone and everything? Every moment is an opportunity to choose freedom or not. What a wild idea, not an easy path, as it will require a conscience, imagination, discernment, and responsibility, growing up and truly becoming an adult. For every free choice that we have has consequences. And that requires discovering the truth, speaking the truth, standing up for the truth, and living the truth no matter what. We will work hard, for there is no better choice to make than freedom. Can we? Will we embrace it and see where it leads? To the promised land? Yes, if we take the high road, the road less traveled, within and without. Blazing our own trails, we discover day by day how to be true to ourselves and the great universe who made us, for they are one and the same. Santon de La Vie.
Releasing the Big Lie. Chi-Chi, our nicknamed 2-year-old granddaughter, sat contentedly in my comfy wingback chair, expertly flipping through and perusing the pages of her favorite book, correctly identifying the creatures: cow, pig, dog, horse, chicken, she quietly intoned. As I passed by, I got the strong telltale woof. Bobo? I asked. Without looking up or missing a beat or changing her expression, she politely said, "No, Bobo," and continued with, she bumped her mute again. As she obviously needed her diaper changed, as later confirmed, I marveled at her ability and with such ease to outright lie. She absolutely knew she was sitting in a pile of crap, but oh well, she simply wasn't ready to deal. Social anthropologists like Harari and Dawkins and Jared Diamond hypothesized that lying came into being right on the heels of sapiens acquiring subtle speech. They suggest that early sapiens did not necessarily want to share the discovered figs on the tree because self-preservation won out over the other prime directives, continuation of the species. Those were and are to this day rival primordial instincts. The individual's wants and needs are in conflict with the basic needs of the collective to survive. And that's why presently humanity's soul is at stake. But Chi-Chi had no moral conflict or code to contend with, much less worrying about the potential demise of life on Earth. So her response was much more basic and without remorse. Diaper changing at the moment was simply inconvenient and not practical. She was enjoying being with her own sweet self too much to be bothered. At 2 years old, she already had her diaper changed 3,000 times. Why rush to yet another one? In these last few years, politically, we have all been subjected to and inundated with one obvious lie after another. Spoken with authority and straight faces, as if God alone had ordained this fall from truth, and all the while the speaker absolutely knowing that they too needed a diaper change, but for whatever reason deemed it an inconvenient truth and much too messy as well. So it begs the question, why do we lie? Really? And what are the personal consequences? Everybody seems to do it at one time or other. Big lies, little lies, or lying's brother, withholding the truth. We must understand that lying originated as an essential survival skill and is deeply ingrained in our psyche. But to continue to ignore its roots and pretend it does not now need to be modified is to do so at our own peril. I grew up in a family where the big lie was actually a secret. Truth was withheld from me for what my parents deemed was a protective measure. But when a big truth is withheld, lies naturally have to happen in order to protect the secret from being discovered. My sister was born with Down syndrome and was formally institutionalized 2 weeks later, remaining so for the rest of her 60 years. So much shame to be covered up.
and according to society's standards at the time, a perceived failure. My dad was a popular public figure involved in high-profile activities. To his credit, he acted responsibly, covering his portion of her care until she was 21 and the state took over completely. Her existence was never to be mentioned, forbidden even. Though physically absent, Patty's presence was always felt. It hung like a ghost over every meal we ate together, over every outing, as if in atonement for the mistakes of the past, but also in my joy to do so. I did finally meet her when I was 25. From then on, we visited many times and I became her legal advocate. My personal trauma, however, mostly healed through self-reflection and therapy and maintaining an ongoing relationship with Patty, centered on the fears of my 7-year-old self, the age I was when she was born. If I was not a very good girl, I too would be sent away. Eventually, as a career in midlife, I became a successful sales rep, practicing in that arena the acting abilities that I had developed in my theater years. Part of my job was to ease any conflict between the vendor who shipped the goods and the store owner who received them by talking to each separately, telling them a somewhat different story, basically helping to keep the peace and to keep the relationship stable. Even though I practiced my profession with the best of intentions, did my lack of adherence to absolute honesty make me a liar, a person who does not deal with truth? Doesn't it depend on one's own perspective, of one's own personal interpretation of imagined reality by which we all live? It's all subjective, isn't it? The accolades I received on my last birthday were more than ever in my life. My daughter arranged a viewing online of all the artworks I have made for her over the last 30 years, along with deep expressions of what it means to her. Such an explosive reaction of love happened and made me realize how much appreciated I am by so many. Now, the big question presses to be asked. How long have I been lying to myself? And wouldn't I like to be liberated from the pain which goes with it? And wouldn't I wish for my 2 recent heart surgeries to heal the lingering ache? Has the biggest part of the lie actually been an omission, that I have invalidated who I am through lack of appreciation and gratitude for all the gifts I've been given, for all the surrounding love in my life, and for the person I have grown to become? I like myself. Go a little deeper and accept and love myself too. Acceptance of my fate, that's a big one. I'm working on it. Jessica Webb.
Fractured, reunited. A wound was festering inside me, awakening me at 2 a.m. to sob for an hour. Sob? Asked a friend. Yes, I replied. Sobbing is essential, cathartic, release and relief. Without stories or thoughts, intimate and pure as the night sky. Opening my heart enough, clearing the space enough to feel the birds outside my window dancing inside me this morning. To bring me back home to knowing fractured, reunited, not as binary, but as a perpetual state of becoming. Feeling the universe's eternal dance of annihilation, reunification within me. From deep inside my cells to the body that exists beyond my body. Fractured, reunited, 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 always, forever. Jennifer Bloom.
Homage to Maya Angelou. Start where you are, be it battered or bruised or whole. Whole is the horizon, the dream, the pot of gold, but not likely to be where you begin. Don't try to be somewhere else. Sharp focus your eyes. It's harder than you think. Your eyes will want to close. You will want to go temporarily blind, tending, as we all do, to not see clearly, afraid that clarity will wash the grief and helplessness through us and drown us. Choose to fight your closing eyes. Choose to do this one thing. Look closely and also look wide. See with your heart's eyes. And let yourself ache for the 1,000 irreplaceable things desecrated or destroyed on this earth and with each other. Let what you see pierce and tatter your bulletproof cloak of indifference, meant to keep your longing for wholeness at bay and to cloud your grief at your presence in a time of desecration and breakdown. Let it matter. Let it stagger you and drop you to your knees. Get up anyway and go stand on the rock, the bones of the mother you live on, and continue to keep your eyes open. Let your heart break. Keep letting it break until you collapse down onto the surface of the rock, down to the bones of this place and time, and the bodies of your ancestors who stood here before you. Rest your cheek against the rough solidity of rock. Hold on while you let go and cry like an inconsolable child until you're cried out. Rest on rock's rough solidity, the way it holds you up, the way it opens, the way it absorbs your grief like rain on parched ground, as it has absorbed the pain and prayers, the secrets and dreams of your ancestors before you. Feel the way it tethers you to this place and time. Listen to rock's slow, vast, spreading sentience, full of the stories of each brief candle of a life that came before you. Rock is ancient recorder of tales, of tears, of dancing, holder of the mother's heartbeat, mixed with the heartbeats of all who are here now and who have come before, and the stamp of all feet who have walked here. Rock is the holder of the slow evolving library of the flares of life, human and other than human. And despite the storms and the heartache on the surface, rock arises out of the ground that holds us all. Rest on that a while. You stand on the foundation. You who have so little time, stand on time's record keeper. Open up the library doors in the soles of your feet. Let your sure and certain place rise upward from the rock, and let its solidity infuse your feet, your heart, your head, your hands. Remember, every morning is a new morning. Go to tree next, the mother who breathes out oxygen in the morning and wakes up the birds. Lean up against her strength and how she roots and rises at the same time. Listen to her wordless voice singing and how she teaches shelter and the precarious art of living through storms. How she makes willows who learn to bend, aspens who in one place go on for great distances but are one tree, redwoods who shed off fire and disease, thrive in ancient sentience for millennia, and live in family fairy rings. Listen deeper to how the roots and tendrils connect tree to other trees. Listen to how they talk to each other. Sink deeper and wide focus your senses and feel it. Feel how tree intertwines into forests, hosts species in her branches and bark, offers rest in hollow trunks to stags, lives in networks, shares bounty, endures together, makes understories that feed the bears their berries, shares wordless tales of wind and rain, drought and perseverance, like the subsonic talk between elephants hundreds of miles apart. Trees Library is a symphony of conversation, of intricate connections, of rising and falling together. Tree is the language of we. Remember this, we are also tree, meant to root and to rise together. Every morning is a new morning. Go to the river next, Earth's blood and capillaries, ancient mother of movement, change, and flow, dissolver of boundaries, bringer of life. She lives in flow and knows not of barred entrances and closed minds. Strip off your clothes. They'll only weigh you down here. Jump in. If you're timid, cling to the shore for a while. But at some point, she will pry your fingers loose and toss you. So it's better to strike out for the swift current in the middle. She, like rock and tree, is an ancient one. She will only show you her gifts if you let yourself be taken, if you allow yourself to be carried. If you fight her, you will go under. So release your need to do something and let her carry you. Past history and crumbled solutions, drowned cities, bad ideas, and other flooded and abandoned structures to hubris and domination. Stay awake and keep your eyes open. She is no safe amusement ride, and you are not a water breather. There could be waterfalls, rapids, and rocks. But there will also be long stretches of calm and still pools of contemplation and places near shore to rest, with overhanging branches laden with fruit to eat. Take a breath and recuperate, but don't stay there. Head back out into the current. Sometimes there will be others nearby. You can shout to each other or clasp hands. Other times you will be alone. Keep going, you'll be tumbled. But if you allow yourself to be carried, you will float. You will find your way inside to the continually fluid dance between letting go, being carried, and being wide awake. This is not the goddess you visit if you intend to fall asleep. She is the many-faced mother of movement, who births, nurtures, feeds, and sustains, who scours and wears down. She is the cradle and the scythe, the road from the past, the road toward the future. Stay awake and let it in, as you did with the other two. When the hard edges in you have dissolved and given way, when you have been tumbled and smoothed down, worn away, held, carried, and dreamed, when you're washed clean into the present, as she will do for you, then you can fight your way to the shallows and rest a while before you climb out. And wherever you have landed, breathe again, open your eyes again, relish solid ground beneath you, gather your lessons in your arms. And now, make a vow. Any heartfelt vow that rises up and pours out of you uncensored through rock, tree, and river. Make it a prayer if you can, for yourself and for your brothers and sisters. Your vow, your small offering that only you can make, your bright flare of life. This can be a new morning if you make it so. Start where you are. Kathy Carlson.
Breaking free. Do we wait for someone else to set us free, or is it up to us? Is the feeling of freedom inside or outside of us? Can we still feel free even if our circumstances aren't providing us with the freedom we desire? Sure we can. It all has to do with what we notice, what we are aware of inside ourselves and out, and what we choose to believe. Just imagine You're breaking free like a raindrop from a heavy dark cloud, a gust of wind from out of nowhere, a butterfly emerging from a cocoon, a rosebud opening, petals unfolding ever so slowly, a cracking egg, tweet, tweet, a voice bursting into song, a foot from a shoe, a smile from a frown, loving someone after hating, waking up from a bad dream, the first stroke of a paintbrush, opening a window to the morning sun, a Christmas present from its wrapping, smoke from a chimney, a lit sparkler, a shooting star, a sigh, a lion's roar, a flap of a wing, a drifting thought, a daydream's longing, a breaking heart, a silent prayer. Jeannie Goldman.
Poetry is liberation from the rules that follow no rules in what is called the English language. Poetry loosens the binding of the mind, encourages the flow of possibility, pulls up the weeds of habitual expression. Poetry, a soaring soprano voice living beyond the notes on a page, bringing meaning to sounds and rhythms, singing a song which loops in and out of a timeless dimension. Poetry unties the tongue and sets it free to flutter in fluid waves of symbols on parchment, liberated from understanding. Poetry says it all when I cannot say anything. Carolyn Ayers.
The chasm. The double-wide train doors opened with a whoosh onto a somewhat bustling yet uncrowded platform. 4 weeks of traveling with my life packed on my back had prepared me to be at the ready for release from the rails. I was much less prepared for the unbound nature of my life. My mother's departure from life released me from her illness. With the flush of youth, my children were flying into their own lives, and my work had transferred itself to another state without me. Midlife, I had found myself released from my younger self's last love. Without the map of my obligations to others, I was now searching for direction, signs, and symbols. The compass of my own heart's desire lay buried under layers of my life's choices. I had followed the known territory for too many seasons of my life. Assuredly, my feet stepped out onto the platform. Destination known. A complete itinerary of local attractions and lodging lay beyond the station doors. I had come to value the welcome of a warm room, a warm drink at the end of a day, moving from town to town and country in uncertain neighborhoods. With my first steps over the train's threshold, my eyes fell on opposite train doors. Another train pointing the opposite direction lay across the platform. For a moment, the platform was the chasm between the known and the unknown in my life, a fissure wide with differences between one life and another. One life capably organized and cataloged by the whys and wherefores of what must be done. One life longing for emancipation into a life of testing myself with new growth, into a world filled with known, unknown, and unknowable possibilities. I wanted to free myself lovingly into the world. I felt the soft voice of my heart command my limbs, moving my legs across the chasm. I answered the call of the departing engine and its wide open doors. With purpose, I began to go where I had not been. I crossed the chasm of the platform. In that moment, I became a part of a larger flow and the benevolence of chance. I felt embraced by all that is wanting to happen. It was here I realized I felt myself a part of the presence of love, the process of love growing us all. I entered the departing train, destination unknown.
Her hunger. Free me from the old, outdated, despotic government within my own tissues. The linear, rule and fear-based trajectory decision-making factories housed within. Free me from the fear that I will have nothing beyond worrying about food. If I eat enough to not be starving, beyond the plotting, planning. Free me from the fear of feeling too full of old, archaic terrors I've no real understanding of, nor skill of navigating through alone. Free me from feeling unattended, lost, abandoned with this struggle, unmet and misunderstood. Free me from eating less in fear of all of this terrifying mystery arising, in fear of whatever this is that keeps me hidden, that keeps this hidden. In this hidden non-emergency yet ever whittling cycle of depending on measuring spoons and calories and minutes to hold me, to hold it at bay. Free me from whatever it is that keeps me focused on this and distracted from the fullness of what I could be living, of what I really desire, of the sheer and overwhelming vision manifested. Freedom would look like, what would it look like? Truly feeling my body tell me its hungers, truly knowing what would feed it, truly giving myself that, truly knowing when it is enough, truly feeling the result of a met desire, satiation, my little girl fed. Her, beyond the calories and meal plans and minutes and cups and measuring spoons and fear of fullness and orchestrating my whole entire fucking existence around this constant fear of fullness, around this constant fear of freedom. Some days when I haven't just collapsed into numbness of just accepting that this is all there is, I pray so hard So goddamn hard. The spit chokes me. I pray so goddamn hard for something to support me in this unimaginable transformation. One, it seems I have tried every position of attempt and arrived at nothing. Covered in this slimy residue of grievings, I wail, freedom. I want it so bad to hear this desire spontaneous, to know how to feed it, to feel myself feeding it, to feel myself feeling full of it, to feel myself enjoying that fullness. This, her freedom. Is it possible? Is it possible? Is it possible to feel something beyond this? I'm praying again. I'm wailing again. I'm risking your complete and utter lack of response again. I'm crying out anyway to you. Raven Eakins.
Give me liberty, not death. We're in this forgetting together, friend, to bring ourselves and our society back into the realm of responsible choice. Without diminishing, without dominating, we must remember that everything is born from an opposite and miraculous otherness. We cannot survive by our smallness alone. We must embrace the liberty of choosing a cause greater than ourselves. For liberty and freedom are not the same choice. Liberty is greater than a republic, is greater than a race, is greater than a religion. Liberty is our responsible choice for all Earth's species. Life is fierce and difficult. There is every reason to want to carry torches that illuminate only our own views. You have family secrets singing in your blood, like mine, like mine. Fear of what is unknown or different makes enemies of life and others. You have blood and sweat and tears running darkly through your body, like mine, like mine. We keep the world at bay through prejudiced labeling and erecting differences rather than embracing likenesses. But there is every reason to hope. We are being asked to choose a higher knowing heart. Freedom represents a total lack of restraint, an unrestrained ability to fulfill one's own desire. Liberty entails responsible use of freedom under the law of a higher choice, which does not deprive another of their rights as a citizen of Earth. Liberty's requirements: responsibility, reciprocity, generosity, gratitude. Liberty's gifts: world citizenship, world justice, world peace, God's grace. You have wings vast and golden, like mine, like mine. Judy Ann Morse.
Mother Sea. Mother Sea, Mother Sea. White heads of the waves, as far as I can see. Give me the key. Let the rose pink touch me. Many will hear the song of one, calling from the multidimensional. The wisdom of ages whispers of the souls. Portal is open. If you come, I will be there. Just follow the footprints left in the wet clay. Elina Vas.
Give me my voice. Give me my voice. I want to sing praises to the burgeoning cosmos, flowers bursting forth in springtime, migrating geese calling gladness on the wing, humpback whales singing glory through the seas, praises for stars in orbit, the swirl of rotating galaxies, the miracle and mystery of becoming, everything rolling out of what has been, praises to gods and goddesses, to forces and forms known and those unseen, praises to the sacred dreams that from the child's night endure, praises to lift the terrified, praises to raise the pure. Give me my voice. I want to speak reason to oppressor as well as oppressed, idea to guide the cosmic quest, thoughts to fill the emptiness and to quell the deep depression. Give me my voice. I want to speak of incarnation and liberation and the inner sense of what it means to be free, the essentials of growing up human in a culture of complexity where voices are crushed before they begun and wars are lost but never won, and migrating people are captured on the run, and running away has no destination. I want to address the vast migration and the hell we create on earth. Give me my voice. I want to speak. Give me my voice. I want to scream loud enough that you can hear me from my cell, my death knell, and my birth song cry, intertwined as the world collapses in its concomitantly synchronous rise, living spirits struggling to stay alive amid wrong fluctuations, too rapid to survive. Give me my voice. I want to scream. I want to scream a vein open, a dream into the river, into the sea. May I breathe. May I breathe. May I breathe. May I breathe. Give me a voice. I want to scream. Give me my voice. Give me my voice. I want to pray. Send song and thought and dreams into the unseen field, where everything breaks down and is remade again and again, reconciled and renamed in every new birthing, on every new morning, forever. In the generative cosmic spin, give me my voice. I want to pray. I want to pray again. I pray for inclusion and to rise above the delusion that there is not enough. Take my tongue and I will pray the louder into the field where dreams are made, where that which now is concealed is not afraid to enter the final reckoning. Eagle Woman.
Present. I found a new kind of liberty yesterday. I was guided there by none other than my son. He had stepped into the shoes of a theta healer. I joined him there. An unfolding occurred. He followed me closely, breathing, feeling. A field of connection grew between us, palpable, amorphous, real. Doing versus being, a jumping off point. No, a wrong step, irritating, not the subject. What about now? Do now. No, do now. Be now. Yes. What would it feel like to be here now? Ah, a sigh, a peace, presence. I could feel myself step into being present. What will it take for you to feel present in each moment? I brought his offering inside. Aware, I noticed. My body softened. Fear, future, other, melted. Now. The opportunity, feel the liberty of being present, being here now. Feel it in every cell of my body. Whoa, damn, I could feel that. I could feel that. I did feel that. Every cell tingled. I am there. I am here. So much space. I could feel so much space. Hard to convey. The words now feel flat. They lack the texture, smooth, airy, open, peaceful, that yearns to be conveyed. Flat. That was a feeling I had felt at the beginning of the session. That was not how I felt as we proceeded. Very early feelings of a 3-year-old me had arisen. He followed me. Scared. I made my mommy mad. Where? How do you feel that in your body? My stomach tight, my jaw tight, my heart tight. Breathe, he said. Back to the peace. Would you like to know what it feels like to not be responsible for others' feelings? In my head, really? That's a possibility? What would that feel like? The invitation. Imagine it. Sip at the openness of that. A sea of being me. I could swim in that. An even earlier moment called me deeper. I went back in utero. My mother didn't want me. A hard, tight in the chest memory. A sob surfaced as I breathed. A disrupted Catholic rhythm method. Sparkling Christmas lights. Scent of pine boughs. Eggnog loosened sex. Surprise, you're pregnant. No! I experienced the disruption, this disharmony. The no! Into that time I went. The tears welled. I choked on not being wanted. A deep tightening, a gut wrenching sob. He was there, right there with me. We were both in tears. Would you like to know what it feels like to be divinely timed? Yes. The thought again, is that possible? This question implied it was. I opened to a stillness inside, a black void. An image appeared, hands holding an embryonic me. I understood. My higher self's hands cupped around my little body. The words, peace, little one, you are okay. I am here with you. You are held in divine timing. Layers of tight webs began to loosen. It will take days, months, maybe years for the armoring to fall away. I am ready. Peace. Be present to I am divinely timed. To eradicate the belief that my accidental conception was a problem, an imposition, a call to be the best little girl I could be. Peace, that my timing was divinely led. This changed everything. Imagine all my experiences of non-peace on this planet getting to fall away. Maybe the moments, days, weeks, months, even years can take no time to loosen their grip. But today me is here. Today what I know, I have a new me walking this Pedro Point path. The sun makes its dappled way through the abundant foliage. The recent grunge of cold fog has finally dispelled. Green is everywhere. The soil is tacky and damp from the Sunday rain. The birds chorus. A woodpecker pokes his head out of his hole. The eucalyptus trees rise like sentinels around me. I am welcome on this planet. I am at peace. Donna Blethen.
Free to breathe. I see sorrow in your slumping shoulders. I see resignation in your chest, ribs held tight, close in, tethered to your injured heart. Who told you to hide in the dark? Who told you not to breathe? Who jailed your spirit and took away your air? Whatever they said, it's not true. You are free to breathe here. Let me show you. Kathy McConnell. Earth to sky. Now that your breathing is freed and your feet can see, press down with your legs, reach up with your arms, creating a field to be planted. Dig deep with your mind, unearthing gems in the veins of your flesh. Embrace the adventure of this gesture as love. The seeds you sow will sprout, so keep reaching out. Hug tomorrow with trust, trust in your ground. Kathy McConnell.
Soul liberation. Hold up to the light anything human beings do, and use each action as a lens to examine the growth of the soul. We must work as diligently in the unseen world as we do in the seen world. The soul's obligation to life is to learn the rites of passage through the human condition. Liberation is self-inflicted. a necessary dying. Everyone chooses a suffering that will liberate her. Surrender. Listen for the voice that says, "It was for you I created the universe." Judy Ann Morse.
Living presence, the we-ness of it all, the full silence, the meeting place of self, a tightrope of presence, continuous movement. Feels easy as long as I am walking. When I stop in doubt, wondering if this is the right way, feels precarious. Peace, clarity, love, humbleness in my reception of what is. Today I am walking until the images fade and there is no thing. Loosely held darkness, light and body jerking, deliberately laying aside the mind. The pressure lessens. Mind entertains itself with images of dark swirling wings, Mobius shapes, breathing in effulgent universe, breathing in myself, being the breath itself, the flow, the in and out universal flow of energies whose fingers probe and stretch across infinite space. It all ends in gratitude. Carolyn Ayers.
Breath, death, soul. Gratitude is the last word. Gratitude. Though times are hard, though illness abounds, though breath is short and grief overwhelming, gratitude. Gratitude. Though movement is restricted, though divided factions fight and confound, though friends and enemies suffer and beloveds fade into dust, gratitude, gratitude. Though the forest keeps burning, though the wheel keeps turning, though the fields spring up empty and liberty seems like an abstract concept made up for somebody else's gain, gratitude, gratitude. For the joy and for the pain that grows us. We stretch like eager weeds toward the rising sun. Every dawn, a new beginning. Maybe gratitude again. It is never too late. Gratitude again. And the path is still strewn with the bones of our ancestors and the seeds they cast into the singular miracle that outlasts dissolution. Gratitude. I will rise in wonder anyway. I will practice remembrance anyway, knowing that nothing is ever lost at any cost anyway, and that spirit ever survives. Gratitude, gratitude. It's a good day to be alive. and it's a good day to die. I turn to face the light, immerse, spellbound in beneficence, gratitude. Today, may I celebrate the alchemy of the infinitely graceful universe. Gratitude. Today, with this breath, I begin again. Gratitude. Eagle woman. And so, on that note of gratitude, we end our reading tonight. Selections from our new book, Liberty, Breath, Death, Soul. And I want to thank all the beautiful sisters for sharing their fabulous works. I am so moved by all your works, sisters of the Holy Pen. This book is available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and at bookstores, through bookstores everywhere. You can order it. Liberty, Breath, Death, Soul. And now we come to an end of our searching, our stretching, our growing. And I'd like to end our ceremony tonight as we began by playing the bowl. So I'm just going to play us out, and this many blessings to one and all.